Welcome back, folks. This is Suave, and today we are going to be continuing our journey with Eden's Zero, going straight into Volume 8. And oh my god, there is a lot of things to digest in Volume 8, so we're not going to waste any more time. Let's get started. Chapter 60, Until the Day It Turns to Strength. And here we have Rebecca hanging out in her bedroom. Looks like she has a cat hoodie on. Maybe there's some PJs too. She has the tail. She has those little slippies on her feet that go all the way up to her ankles. She has her whole room decked out in cat decor. It's a pretty crazy one, but it's a cute little picture too. Okay, so last time we left off, we have Shiki here confronting Madame Kurenai and pretty much her whole crew. Everybody's here. They're all surrounding Shiki. He is completely outnumbered, but he doesn't care. He wants to see this through, and he wants to bring Madame Kurenai back to Homura. So what does Shiki do? He does what he does best. He puts down a gravity wave, bringing all these Punishers to him and knocking them all senseless into one big attack. And it is insane the way he's pulling all his enemies towards him. No one can really keep up with what's going on. Shiki is just outmaneuvering everybody, but it gets to the point where he does get outnumbered by some of the bigger guys in the crew, and so he is being beat down. But he does capitalize pretty quickly, and he's able to move around. I think his name was Baku, the large lion dude, and he starts shoving him around like he's nothing, using his gravity powers, and it's just crazy witnessing all these strikes. Shiki is coming in trying to strike Madame Kurenai herself, and it is going down right now. And that's just the beginning of this conflict. We find out during all this craziness, during all this mayhem, that the large satellite that Madame Kurenai owns, known as the Oculus Kurenai, has been hacked. They have no control over this weapon anymore, and it turns out that it has been hacked by Draken Joe himself. And apparently this all dates back to when Madame Kurenai was just a poor woman. She wanted some money, and she went up to Draken Joe begging for money. At least this is what Draken Joe is telling us. And so now Draken Joe is cashing in on that interest that's been accruing up all this time, and now he wants to take control of the Oculus Kurenai. However, now we find out that it's no longer called the Oculus Kurenai, now it is called the Satellite Blaze. So now Draken Joe has control of this amazing weapon, and Madame Kurenai is absolutely pissed off by this. She is going mentally crazy. She doesn't know what to do. She tells them to unleash the Kurenai Dragoon, and we have no idea. I thought the satellite was enough, but apparently we have this giant mech dragoon that's supposed to be even stronger than the satellite, and now she's bringing that on board, and I have no idea what is going on right now, but we have this giant mech emerging, and it is looking awesome right now. Chapter 61, Enter Arsenal, and here we have Weiss. Looks like he's just playing around with a little gadget that's like a little circular gadget. Looks kind of weird. He has his, you can see the ether gear abilities on his hand. I don't think that's a glove. I think that's the lines from his ether gear ability. So he's obviously manipulating that in some way, but he's tinkering around with that. Looks like he might be on the Eden Zero. It has some little decorations in the background. So yeah, he has a nice suit too, so hey, we'll see what happens with this. So it turns out Draken Joe doesn't have any immediate plans to use the Satellite Blaze. He has it under his control, and even his crewmates are asking him if he's going to use it, but no, he doesn't have any plans to use it right now. He wants to save it for something later, because he has his eyes set on the one thing that he's been wanting this whole time, and that is the Eden's Zero. And the last time we saw the Eden Zero, I believe it was only Weiss, Witch, Hermit, and Sister. The four of them were on the ship. So it's just really them four that's there to defend the ship in case anything happens. They're on board, so this is going to look really bad if these guys manage to get to the Eden Zero and start a fight up there while the rest of the crew is down on the planet. Going back to Shiki and Madame Kurenai, we have this big confrontation going on where this Dragoon is coming out, and Kurenai wants to be able to destroy this labor district. However, Shiki doesn't want him to do that because you gotta remember, Homura is still down there. He's trying to reason with her. If you destroy this labor district, you're gonna kill your own daughter. But Madame Kurenai does not give two little shits about Homura being down there. She is going to do whatever she can, and she will go down there and she will destroy that labor district with everything that she has. And then we finally see this giant mech, the Kurenai Dragoon, coming in out of nowhere, and it is giving the work to Shiki. It basically, Madame Kurenai boards this thing, and she just does one punch to Shiki, and Shiki is sent flying out of this building, and she is just assaulting him, going straight after him. She is not letting him breathe one bit, but Shiki's ready for this. He was ready to fight back too. Even though it might look like it's not something that he could take on right away, he is not scared of this machine. He's going to go straight to it and try to go fist to fist with it. Switching back over to Rebecca, she is here helping out the rebel soldiers down here in the labor district. We have all these Punishers coming in, ready to swoop down and basically kill and destroy everything that they see. So Rebecca is here using the Happy Blasters. They seem to be very effective against these soldiers. Pino is also here ready to help out Rebecca in case she needs her EMP ability, and she's here tracking down the enemies for her. And so it really looks like it's sort of like an even battle at some point until Baku shows up. And Baku is just one of those really big bad dudes. He comes in swinging with his axe, basically making short work of these rebel soldiers. And it looks really bad at one point because he starts to attack Rebecca, but we see this unidentified person come swooping in, blocking Baku's axe with his bare hands, and it is none other than Weiss himself, because we know, at least we know from Rebecca and Pino, that this is supposed to be Weiss because they recognize his voice. However, Weiss doesn't want to give up his identity. He wants us to know that his name is Arsenal, and he is here ready to do battle in his huge Iron Man Mark armor. It's looking pretty crazy. He has basically his whole body is encompassed in this armor. It just looks really cool on him, and I guess it really improves his strength depending on the materials that he used to make this armor. But we're gonna see what happens in the next chapter with Arsenal. Chapter 62, The Legend of Me, and here we have Witch sitting down on her chair. She has a really creepy aura about her. She has all these Halloween decorations in the background. She's got the whole classic witch outfit with a hat on. It just looks pretty cool. So the fights just keep on escalating. Kurenai the Dragoon is constantly on Shiki's ass. She is ready. She is shooting bullets all across the city. Shiki is just trying to dodge and trying to get his footing together just to be able to stand a chance against this thing. And then we get back to Arsenal. Now, Arsenal is a funny character. I mean, we all know it's Weiss underneath it. He's not going to tell us though. But Arsenal is here trying to put on a show, and he is here to do battle for love and for justice. He wants to make evil pay. And when I read this line, it reminds me a whole lot of the great Saiyaman.
I am the unmitigated champion of justice, who tolerates no evil.
Alright, enough about Great Saiyaman. Let's get back to Arsenal. So Arsenal is here. He is ready to throw down against Baku. And we see that Arsenal has the ability to remake his armor. Or at least we should say Weiss, because we know that's his ether gear ability. And this is pretty cool. This is a pretty unique take that you get on this sort of Mark armor, because he is able to basically rearrange his armor to be able to create weapons on the fly. He can create short burst weapons when he's in close range, create huge cannons in long range, and he is just being able to re-equip everything on the fly. Even when he's on the defense, you can see that he's actually rearranging the armor around his legs in order to be able to create these thrusters in order to gain more speed and get around Baku. And it turns out that Weiss actually gets the upper hand on Baku for a bit. Unfortunately, he has been using his ether gear ability for a while, and when he does that, he depletes his ether, which means the Mark armor that he's wearing will pretty much fail on him and fall apart, is what I'm assuming will happen. So it gets to a countdown where Weiss is pretty much almost out of power, and he needs to do one more shot. And so he re-equips his arm to be this gigantic metallic arm and does a move called the Metallica Explosion. And this thing is crazy. It's just basically one giant arm with huge thrusters behind it. So he's basically doing just this huge rocket punch straight at Baku, knocks him out completely, and that's when the suit finally runs out of power, and Weiss is just sitting here buck naked in front of Rebecca and Pino. Chapter 63, Taking Up the Torch. Here we have Sister. Looks like she's in a forest. She's using her abilities to heal this tiny little injured creature. The little animals around her are also being very happy. It's a nice, peaceful, and calm picture during all this conflict. So Weiss is here. He's completely naked, and he wants Rebecca to at least give up her skirt so that he can at least wear it and cover up his private parts. The problem is Rebecca just remembered that the one guy basically stole her underwear under her shorts in order to show off his power, and so now we have Rebecca here completely embarrassed, not wanting to give up any of her clothing. And we have this funny picture where Weiss is using Pino to be able to cover up his parts until he's able to pretty much find something, and Pino is just very uncomfortable in this whole situation. So here's where we learn some other important information. So here we have Shiki fighting off the Kurenai Dragoon, and Shiki is trying to use his powers against this thing. Unfortunately, his powers don't work because we find out from Madame Kurenai that this Dragoon is equipped with an ether coating. And apparently if something has an ether coating around it, it means that it basically nullifies ether abilities. So this is pretty much useless fight against Shiki, and Shiki's just trying to find something. So he actually makes the ground under them heavier in order to be able to make it crack easily. And now they are crushing through from the upper district all the way down to the labor district. And here is where things get really interesting. Shiki tries to devise a plan as to how to fight this Dragoon. So he goes on and tries to use his Ether Gear ability one more time. Madame Kurenai is trying to tell him it's useless, but apparently when he punches this thing, he actually does a lot of damage to him. And what happens is that he added gravity to his punch, and right before the impact, he basically disabled that ability so that he still had that momentum going in straight to the punch into the Dragoon, causing damage. And you know, Shiki's having a lot of damage in his hand right now, but it was pretty much worth it in order to inflict a lot of damage back into the Dragoon for once. Switching back to Weiss and Rebecca, they go up here, they start catching up on the situation, and they're in this armory. They're trying to pretty much find new clothes. Weiss was naked, he needs to find clothes. Rebecca was pantsless, she needs to find something to at least cover herself up a little bit more, so it's something that she feels more comfortable in. And while this is all going down, Nino walks in on Rebecca, and we find out that actually the room that Weiss is in has been locked, so he can't even come out here to help Rebecca. And we know that Nino is here working under Madame Kurenai. So here we have the situation where Nino is trying to stop them from accessing this armory so that the rebel soldiers don't have any more weapons on them. And Rebecca's trying to stop Nino from pretty much doing all of this. And you know, they're just having this huge conversation going on. And here we have Nino basically showing us his ability going on. I'm not sure if it's really an ability or some sort of augmented weapon, but according to Pino, this is some sort of cybernetic ether arms that Nino has at his disposal. So now he has this giant cybernetic arms along with his regular arms. He has a pretty cool pose going on, but this is looking really bad for Rebecca right now, especially without Weiss's help. Chapter 64, Leaper. Here we have Hermit. She's hanging out in the room with her cute little outfit. She has some headphones on, probably listening to some music. And she has some nice decor going on. She has some digital stuff going on in the background. She has this giant monitor that's covered with a little canopy there, and she has some stuffed animals. She has her gadgets on her bed. It's a lot of stuff going on in her room, but it's a pretty cool room too. Okay, so we have Rebecca facing off against Nino, and Nino's coming in swinging hard. Rebecca's able to dodge to the left, dodge to the right. She's able to pop off some shots. But unfortunately, this really has no effect on Nino. He just uses those cybernetic arms to block the bullets, and it really has no effect on him, to the point where he does a counterattack and just punches Rebecca square in the face. She starts remembering how they were able to overcome all of their enemies, and in this case, she used her feet. So she goes down, looks at her feet, and apparently there is an Ether Gear symbol right there on her shins. And so we get this really cool shot where we don't really know what happens, or at least I don't know what's going on at first. So Rebecca gets punched square in the face, she goes down flying, but apparently she starts coming back up, and it's almost like time is starting to go backwards. Now in this case, we get this shot where we have the Ether Gear ability right there in her ankles, and it is something crazy to be astounded with. I mean, basically she's reliving everything that just happened, and instead of being punched in the face, she actually leaps back and dodges just in time because she just relived that moment. And now she has this crazy ability where she's able to jump back really fast, jump forward really fast, and you see her charging straight at Nino, and she does this crazy pose where it kind of reminds Nino of this whole cosplay of the anime girl that he admires so much. And then she goes in to do something called the Bell Holy Slash, which is basically the name of the move that the anime girl uses that Nino loves so much. And this is just a really cool shot of just her doing this crazy kick straight into Nino's face. He didn't see it coming, and so now he's pretty much down for the count. And this is crazy. Rebecca pretty much saved the day right here. She was able to take down an enemy all by herself using her new Ether Gear ability. And we get a little taste of what it's like because she goes off here, she starts showing off her ability to Weiss. She pretty much has full control over this thing, or at least the beginning parts of this thing, where she calls it Leaper. It allows her the ability to jump or leap at a very great distance at a very short amount of time. She's able to do very strong leaps, and it really makes sense with her character. She's a ranged character with these guns, the happy guns, so whenever she has a ranged weapon on her, she can use this leap ability to pretty much fly up into the air really high, get the high ground. She's able to dodge bullets now more easily with this ability. She's going to be a lot more maneuverable than what she already was, and she was already a pretty maneuverable character, but now it's going to be tenfold. It's going to be crazy to see her fight with this new ability. But that's not the only thing about Rebecca's ability that I want to talk about. We get these last pages with Xiao Mei telling us that Rebecca has unlocked her Leaper ability, and this is something that Rebecca can use to truly save the universe one day. Now I'm starting to put these pieces together because we saw Rebecca pretty much go back in time, and then we also see this one shot here where she's kind of playing around with Weiss and she moves really fast. Now at first when I saw her use this ability, showing it off to Weiss, it kind of reminded me of, you know, the DC's The Flash, where the Flash could just run really fast, but in her case she just leaps really fast to the point where it almost looks like she's running extremely fast from point A to point B. Now let's say that she does sort of do something like the Flash, because you know the Flash has this weird alternate storylines where he's able to pretty much go back in time because he moves so fast. I'm guessing this leap ability allows her to travel back in time to a certain point, but only if she's able to control it. I think that sort of just kicked in on instinct when she went back in time, and she didn't really know why that happened, or doesn't really go back to explain it. But I'm guessing that's sort of what her ability might evolve into later in the future, where she's sort of able to not just leap from point A to point B really fast. Maybe she's able to do it so fast to the point where she actually goes back in time, or maybe it just evolves to the point where she can just leap through time. But that's just me brainstorming right now. Nonetheless, this was a really cool, awesome beginning to this volume. This is the first 5 chapters, and there was a whole lot of stuff that just happened. I need a break to digest all this stuff. We're going to be talking about everything that's going on with the last 4 chapters later this week, so be sure to look out for that video. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think about Rebecca's Leaper ability so far. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. With that being said, I will see you all next time. Bye everyone.